Dude, you were saying a story earlier about, smoking before school, and that was a ritual with me and my homies. I got kicked out of every school. I went to 5 high schools in 4 years, and 6 high schools 'cause I went to a few alternatives. And, my 10th grade, I remember I went to this alternative school that was like an adult ed. So there was some older people there, and there was, like, younger there as well. And me and a few of my buddies linked up with this other dude who could buy us Rellos, who also was like, "Hey, man, I got $300. You guys get some smoke?" And I was in that jack boy move at the time. I was like, "Yeah, we can." So I ended up getting him, like, an ounce of brick for $300, and then we had 420 the next day. So I'm like, "Let's turn the fuck up." So I went and got a bunch again of brick. It was like a QP that looked like this, and we chipped away at it. We smoked it all up the next morning. So we probably sat there for 2 hours with a gravity bong, mind you. And then when you don't clear it, people would just be like in your face. And so we went to school shortly thereafter, totally annihilated, reeking like bud, like just gone. And the teacher immediately was like, "Go to the principal's office." And I'm like bombed out. Like, "Oh." She's like, "Rob, go to the principal's office." This Rob? Because there's
Rob?
another Rob. Like, she's like, "Go to the principal's office now." So as I'm walking there, the parapro comes walking in and she's like, "You're done." And I was definitely done because I was shredded. And all my 2 other buddies were in different classes were there too. And I'm like, "Oh." And the principal's having us like rub our hands together so he could smell them. He's like, "It's the smell test. Rub your hands." I'm like, "Rub, rub, rub." And then he smells them. He's like, "Yeah, we're calling the cops." I'm like, and I was on probation still at the time. I just had taken a drug test, so I had like 2 weeks until I had to take another. Like, took off, ran out of there immediately. They called home to my parents. I had a little Boost mobile phone at the time. So I was like, "I'm gonna call my mom to try to be like on the other line." Thank God she was at work. So I fucking raced home before my probation officer showed up as fast as I could get there. I mean, I took a bus, the public bus here, and I didn't have any money because again, I was a broke skid. And so I had them drop me off like 4 houses down. I was like, "I'm just gonna run in and I'll grab the money. I'll be right back." And I just jumped through the backyard, hopped over the other side, and ran in the backyard over at my pop's crib. Hid inside. I was like, "Oh my God, oh my God." And my mom was staying in the basement at the time. The struggle was real. And I quickly, thank God at the time, voicemails weren't really popping. It was still a regular machine. So I went there real quick. I was like, "Oop, delete, gone. Yes, nothing ever happened. I'm good." Until my probation officer showed up, and then I had to go to juvie for a little while.
Had to explain
But
it.
but it was fun until then. It's a great
Man,
time.
man, thankfully to like technology because yeah, in similar voicemail, like I stole 4 like custom tires and allegedly
Allegedly.
took without asking. I actually borrowed them because I brought them back because I got caught. Um, the 4 custom Trans Am tires and wheels, and like a Pontiac Trans Am, and I got busted. I got busted from the family I was staying with at the time, and he's like, "You know what? We're gonna take these back. I'm gonna have to call your mom." I was like, "Oh," and so we loaded up these 4 tires, took them back to the auction sale, which I borrowed them from, and the guys there, I was like, I got these tires, I roll them up to the front office, and I go in there, I was like, and it was like my buddy's dad that drove me there, but he made me go in and return them. So I was like, "Yeah, I stole these, and I just wanted to bring them back." He's like, "Very commendable." I was like, I didn't feel good about it. I was like, it was really eating at me. He's like, "You're a good kid. You're a good kid." I was like, "I won't do it again. I promise." He's like, "Don't worry about it. Just get out of here." So I got out of there. I hopped in the truck. My buddy's dad was like, "Did you tell him what you did?" I was like, "Yeah, they weren't happy. They weren't happy at all." He's like, "I'm going to have to call your mom." I thought I got out of this. And so he takes me home. He goes home and he almost immediately calls my mom. Well, it's like 2002, 2003, and like voice active, like voice impersonation on computers was like just becoming like decent. So I literally opened up a program on my computer and I went to woman's voice and I clicked it and I answered the phone as my fucking mom. And I was just like, "Hello? Oh, oh, really? Oh, he's gonna be in so much trouble when I get a hold of him." And so he hangs up the phone, and then like 3 days later, obviously my mom didn't do anything; she had no clue. I'm back at my buddy's house, and his dad's like, "I called your mom." I was like, "Oh, I heard." I heard. I got a real licking from that. He's like, did you really? I was like, yeah. He's like, she sounded real digital. I was like, what are you trying to say? I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, it didn't sound right. I was like, I got in so much trouble, Reg. I don't know what happened. So got out of that one too, man. I managed to look like I was a good kid because I returned things that I borrowed. And then I also managed to get out of it by pretending to be my mom. So yeah, it kind of worked out. I'm thankful for that because I never would I was already staying with this family. My parents didn't like me as it was. So it's like if they got wind of this, I would have been kicked out before I was 16. So yeah, busted.
Well, we're reformed. We're reformed and we're better men because of this.
Yeah.
Okay? And now that we got it all out there, I feel good with the confessions.
Yep.
I can breathe better.
Yeah. Saint Pigeon and Rob. Saint Pigeons and Saint Rob. Yeah.
Chris just holding back his. He's like, no one's judging me. No one's.
I got one more story.
What'd you got?
Actually, when I first started growing, one of my first attempts at growing, and this I don't even actually count this as my first time ever growing because it wasn't actually complete. But where this is going to be back in 2003, maybe 2002, and I was in high school at the time, or it might have been a little bit earlier than that. I might have been in middle school, but had some seeds off of brick, and I figured I'd try to grow it. Might as well grow in my backyard. My dad never goes in the backyard, and there's a tree, and then behind the tree, there's sunlight. Perfect. You got 8 to 12 hours of direct sunlight all day long. So my dad never goes out there. So why not? Why not try it? So I went out there, and I had like this. It had to have been like a 1.5 foot by like maybe 6 inches. And it was maybe like 6 or 8 inches deep. So real small container that I'm starting these seedlings in, right? And I was going to eventually transplant them. So I just have this container behind the tree, just in my open lawn, in my backyard. And of course, my dad goes out back there one time, right? And he spots the seedlings. And the seedlings, I had to have been around maybe like day 14 since sprout or something like that. So they were real small, but they had multiple leaves on them. And my dad comes back in the house. Chris, come here. Brings me outside. He's like, come here. And walks out back. These are plants. I'm like, what? No, they're not. Are you kidding me? What is this? This is just, I don't even know what this is. These are plants. You can't be growing this here. And he rips out the seedlings. And then sends me back. We go back in the house, sends me on my way. I forget what else he said to me because it was so long ago. But I remember him busting my grow, ripping out my seedlings out of that container. And that was a failed attempt at growing, I guess.
I mean, my dad was a piece of shit. He probably would have just let me grow them and smoked it all. But most dads probably would have punched in your. You got lucky,
right? I barely knew my dad.
Yeah, he would have punched you.
Yeah, right. I don't know who you are, kid, but
this FTS clip was brought to you by AC Infinity, leaders in garden innovation. Use discount code TheStash15 at checkout to save some money on your order.
From the Stash Podcast.